Wherever it is you're reaching us from around the world, welcome to Enterprise Morning right here on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwiki.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
We are so excited to start today with you covering the latest news, current events, inspiring stories, and thought-provoking discussions. Stay tuned for an amazing show, and would also love you to have a say in what we say by logging on to our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com, and also follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. In a bit, we'll go into our newspaper headlines right about now, and after that, we'll have something special for you on our main conversation also for today. So stay locked, and of course, don't go anywhere. Our guests today in the studios, Barrister Vance Ofeli, a barrister and a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And also we have Adeyemi, a member of the Take It Back movement. That's Adeyemi Oluwatosin from Take It Back movement. Thank you so very much once more for being part of our show today. So let's kick off our newspaper headlines with something very interesting. So we're
starting with the Daily Trust newspaper and the big story here. Federal government to promoters. Why you should shelve protests. Have about 3 others to that particular story. Offers to sell 50 kg rice at 40,000 naira. Ask students to remain on campus. Moving on, National Assembly convenes emergency sessions tomorrow. And lastly, EFCC begins probe of sponsors.
Yes, and also we have something very interesting on the Daily Trust newspaper, and that's about FEC approving the sales of crude oil to Dangote and others in Naira. So we have it authoritatively here that the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has directed Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to engage Dangote Refinery and other local refineries with a view to resolving the dispute over sale of crude oil to them. It further added that the FEC, presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also directed that such crude oil sales to the refineries be made in Naira, and that the refineries located in Nigeria should also sell their refined products to the Nigerian market in Naira. And of course, we have it that he explained NNPC has committed. The NNPC now is saying that they are committed to supplying 4 crude oil cargoes monthly to Dangote and other refiners, and leaving the remainder for them to source from international trade. The Pastor Vance Ofeli, do you find this sweet?
Well, it's a cheering news to say that the country had the capacity to do this all this while. They allowed him to go swim with the sharks, Dangote. And that has led to a lot of problems, because these few days when Dangote had been subjected to this kind of treatment, he has revealed a lot about the Nigerian state, its capacity to cater for its own. And this is a damage control the president is putting forth. But if you read the analysis proper, you'll find out that the truth is that there are no sufficient crude, really, to give Dangote that huge amount, which will lead to a shortfall in what will be left to earn foreign currency. To earn foreign currency. Now, because the shortage of the earnings of the foreign currency have been responsible for the rise in the exchange rates between the naira and the dollar, to be specific. Okay, it has been responsible for that.
So not just the floating.
The floating is part of it. Okay. But there is earning capacity. Our highest earning of the forest is from crude. Okay. Other solid minerals, we're not doing that great. We're not doing that great to earn this so much funds. And there are no much consultancies in Nigeria that are consulting for the foreign expatriate, consulting for foreign companies that will earn, apart from few professionals that will earn directly and all that. But their major stake is that because even the analysis, if you look at the editorials of some newspapers this morning, you will see that issue was raised, that if you give Dangote this much, even though it is our desire that Dangote gets everything he needs. Because Nigeria is a very funny country. Somebody said this jokingly that if they explain Nigerian problem to you and you understand it once, that means you don't understand it. Because we was talking about crude. And before now, we didn't have a functional refinery.
Sure.
Therefore, we have to export all our crudes. And now, we have a functional refinery. And now, that functional refinery has to go and buy crude from outside. So, whether what Dangote was doing, he was buying WTI from Texas. And this is what we have in abundance. Because we didn't have functional refinery, that's why we were exporting, we were told. Now we have a functional refinery that can take everything we are producing. Then we're not going to buy the crude outside. So it's a difficult situation to come by. So I hope that this is not another Tinubu's impulsive policy that he will come back to regret again. Now he's saying go and give him 4 cargo per month. One cargo, what is the capacity of one cargo of this? We need to come to terms with the breakdown and to see if what is left after the production sharing quota and the joint venture with IOCs and the forward sale agreement. What is left if you take 4 cargoes out of it? What will be left for the exchange of forest? So that's what I said. You have a huge shortfall. Will it not hamper the exchange rate? And if it hampers the exchange rate, what exactly is the balance of trade? And we're helping Dangote to come up with an indigenous company that is refining crude. At the same time, we have to battle with our exchange with it. So we're in a kind of, I believe, for him to have made that statement, I believe he must have been advised by the energy experts. That's my thought. But I'm also scared of the fact that Tinubu most times talk without any advisor. It's very impulsive, and that impulsion is part of why we're going through all this. I'm saying this, making the analysis flexible, because I don't know who and who he engaged with before the policy that was put forth during the FEC yesterday.
All right. Yes. Pardon.
Okay, let me move back to your DM now. They added that stabilizing petroleum prices will likely drive the appreciation of the naira, as petroleum imports account for 30% of Nigeria FX demand. Now, a lot of Nigerians are looking forward, especially the business, but looking forward to the point where the naira would actually hold water, because it's as though we are now a dollarized country. Do you think, or do you see this coming to limelight?
Well, the truth is that I'm not optimistic about it. It has to get to this stage that Dangote has to complain, has to lament before they can take this form of decision. And that's what I've been saying on this slide. The common man, we, as the lower one of the society, we have already been complaining about the government draconic people's policy. So, and then that's to tell you that, the policy of this government is not only affecting the poor, it's also affecting the rich as well. But the truth is that the rich has a way of finding their way. So when it is the first of the government, he has a way of resolving his own issue. Now, you have seen that the government, they have stopped on the way out. So you don't care about his own business. But how is it going to affect the common man on the street? So is it going to reduce the price of fuel? Is it going to reduce the price of food in the market? So, and then I don't know why you have to depend on a private company for us to survive. What happened to our refineries? So I don't get it. So why do you have to depend on that only? Now they have been giving us false hope, false promise that they will make the refinery work, but still, it's still a delusion. Is it that they are trying to favor the Dangote refinery or what? So Dangote is a private enterprise issue. They are not to manage this thing. But they should give him a level playing ground to compete with the other refineries that we have. Because it's a businessman and it's just to make his profit. So I don't get it. The government should do the needful. We need our refinery back. We innovate our refinery. So I'm not going to depend on Dangote refinery.
Yeah, so the Take It Back movement is not in any way sympathetic to Dangote's cause.
No, it's a capitalist.
Okay.
So, and then anything that favors the capitalists, we are not interested in that. So, we should be allowed to manage this thing, and then with level playing ground. And they should make our refinery work as well, so that Dangote can compete with others.
Very well.
So that is the only solution.
All right. So let's move on to the Nation newspaper right about now. And we have the big story here saying law compels all employers to pay 70,000 naira minimum wage. And what do we have next?
Okay, moving on the top strip, and NCC directs telcos to restore bad lines.
And also 10,000 police recruits begin training August 10.
Moving on, federal government okay sale of crude to Dangote, others in Naira.
Yes, and also on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, Igboho slams the faceless protesters plotting to destabilize government. At the time when the president was just about to sign the bill for the minimum wage, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, just like he often does, impulsively, said that the 70,000 naira minimum wage should equally go for domestic workers, so which means a cleaner, a janitor, should equally be paid 70,000 naira. In fact, he hysterically, laughed over it while he was saying that. But given the present situation we find ourselves, where the small, medium-sized businesses find it extremely difficult to survive. You need to buy fuel for yourself. You need to still pay for light bill. You need to still take care of lots of things. Do you think it's practical, even if it is good enough, to have domestic workers paid 70,000 naira as minimum wage?
It's unfortunate that Akpabio does not read the laws that he so pretends over. As a president of the National Assembly, the Senate President rather, I expect that he understands considerably what the laws are. The law didn't say that every employer must pay the minimum wage. That's not what the law is. If you have more than 25 employees, that's what the law says. If you have more than 25 employees, then you have to comply with the minimum wage. So a housemaid or a house that keep one housemaid or one houseboy or a driver, and you now compel them to pay that. By the way, many of these private citizens that employ drivers and all that pay more than minimum wage.
Some
of them, yes. Some of them pay more than minimum wage. Some pay below minimum wage. It's the discretion of the employer. While it is good for us to encourage employers to pay the minimum wage and above, so as to help the employee rebase his life and his economy, his domestic economy. It's important we also know that where an employer is unable to do so because of circumstances, then you have to give way for that. But Akpabio is fond of talking recklessly, sometimes almost like mocking Nigerians who are not privileged enough. He makes this statement to look like he wants to buy sympathy from the public. He ends up messing up himself by not looking at the laws before he makes those statements. I think this country has suffered enough to the point where what it needs is not this kind of hysterics. I mean, when the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem, Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentation. Now, it's looking like the book of Lamentation was written because of Nigeria, metaphorically speaking. Because everywhere you go, it's just about lamentation how that the Nigerian will have to go through all harrowing experience without. So if people are downtrodden and their country have not delivered good governance to them and not led them well, the least a leader in that country should do is to keep short, to keep quiet.
And Tunji Ojo, did say in his one of the interviews he had, it's like he said Nigeria. He actually said Nigeria is like a sick, a man who has gone through surgery. And of course, after surgery, he has to pass through pain.
Yeah, he has to pass through pain. Okay, so it's just almost like that. Every analogy that represents lamentation, pain, and hopelessness can fit into our story, our narrative, and it's unfortunate.
Very true.
Very unfortunate.
Very true. Adeyemi, let's talk about you are a protester. And Igboho is saying faceless protesters that he is against them because they are planning to destabilize the government. Do you buy the submission of Igboho?
You know the issue of Igboho, and then when they are clamoring for the Yoruba nation, you know that okay, this is where it ends to. And he's a person that knows that he has, though still a speculation that he has been working for Tinubu before Tinubu became a president. So, I'm not surprised. And for the person that was victimized and then he has to want to be in the republic and then run out of the country. So, you should expect that from such a person. So, but when you say that the people that are protesting are faceless, how do you mean that they are faceless?
Because I can see your face, obviously.
Yeah, this is my face as well. So, I'm
so you're faceless.
Yes. So, the people that are hungry, that are unemployed, that so again, they want to take to the streets and protest against this system that has made them what they are. And so that they are faceless. That is an insult on the accessibility of the common Nigerians.
Okay, thank you. Barrister Philly, I want to ask you this question. Now, if the government is saying the protesters are faceless, are they targeting them faceless because they don't want to sit down to actually have a conversation with them and maybe get to, should I use the word, get to subdue them or put them under duress to do what they want them to do?
The government is not interested in addressing the issue facing this country. They are not interested in that. So the boy is saying they are faceless. How? The protesters are on his street. The protesters are Nigerians who have been crushed by harsh economic policy. You understand? The leaders of the protesters are there. They have written their demands. Buadegorua SN is the counsel, official counsel to the protesters. And they have written, so if they are faceless, how did they write to the IG? The IG made a demand that they should state where and where they're going to have in the protest and how long it's going to take per day and all that. They wrote to the FCT minister, Wike, to allow them to use the Eagle Square. Wike said they should pay to protest under democracy. See the kind of leaders we have. It is the federal government that is sponsoring this protest.
They're sponsoring the protest.
Yeah, they are the one sponsoring it. Or let me use the word, they are the one instigating it.
Okay, better.
Yeah, because Wike openly said they should bring money to pay to use the Eagle Square. And the protesters said no, they will not pay. And when the protest starts, they will see what will happen. They will force their way into the Eagle Square because that is a public property that belongs to Nigerians. So you don't ask them to come out. There's no way it is in the constitution that protesters must assemble and then pay money before they're able to assemble. So these are the kind of things that offend people. When people are aggrieved, just like Akpabio, you'll be talking just like Akpabio, like Wike, like Akpabio. People are aggrieved, they want to protest, you are telling them to bring money, you are making a caricature of whatever it is they want to do. You understand? Let him come to the protest ground on that day to stop Nigerians from using the Eagle Square.
Thank you, Barrister Philly. Now, let's get your parting shot at DME. Let's just hear your conclusion to the whole matter.
The thing is that Tinubu has fulfilled his promises.
He has
fulfilled all his promises. He has fulfilled most of his promises.
Okay.
And what are his promises? He said that he will build on Buhari legacy. He has surpassed it. He said that he will reduce the purchasing power of the people. And why the tax net? Yes, he's doing it.
But comes Agbado and there's no money.
So, and then he has promised that he will fast subsidy and remove it. So, he's the most truthful president that I've ever had. So, and then it is now now based on the people that no, this stuff is too much. That okay, we're taking to this because the government has done every means to stop the protests. So, in fact, now they are making some emergency palliative, like the first 50, how many they want to say the right? 50 they say 40,000 naira. Now, the ministers are holding Twitter spaces. I've never seen the government as panic as this before. So, but the only way they can stop this protest, because they are giving process of people to stop the protest. So, the government are engaging the youth in their state, but that's not the solution. The solution is to assist to our demand. And when they assist to our demand, there's no need for the protest. So, I have to tell the government to do the needful. If the needful is done, so why?
Thank you.
Is there need for the protest?
If the needful is done, there's no need for the protest. But I still want to know if the needful, like reducing or removing, going back to where subsidy was before, would he actually solve the problem, knowing that everything has gone haywire? That's actually the one problem or question that we need to ask and need answers, of course, from those in authority. We'll be going to our main conversation, of course, which will be an expanded version of what we'll be bringing to you.
Yeah, true. When we return, it was D-Day before D-Day as protesters march along the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway in Suleja, Niger State. Stay tuned.